Hey guys, so how are you? Today I'm gonna be presenting my dad. If you guys don't know me, my name is Bill, and I'm here usually with my partner. Today we're gonna be with my dad. So this is my dad. For you guys that don't know him, he has now dementia, and has developed dementia, and he also became um, he has other issues. But with that being said, I want to welcome all of you guys to this channel. Today we're going to be talking about the City Block Purifying Mask. I've talked about this product before, and my dad is a volunteer. ¿Quieres ponértela? ¿Estás bien? Sí? Sí. Okay. So he wants to volunteer with this. He wants to volunteer because I usually apply on him the dramatically different moisturizer. So why not give him like a whole pumper sensation? And as I'm gonna be talking today about this product, we're gonna go ahead and apply it. I'm gonna use my spatula from Origins. And what I like about this mask is the fact that it removes all oil and pulls all the dead cells and from your skin. After 5 to 7 minutes, you'll see it turning blue. So that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. So he's also enjoying the Moisture Surge Overnight Mask that I'm applying on him overnight. So for all of you guys that don't know me, you can also follow me on Instagram under the name of Art of a Spirit. And the reason why I wanted to bring my dad into this video today is not only because I wanted to pamper him and give him a session of like ¿Estás bien? Sí. Sí? Okay. I wanted him to give him like a pamper session. He got a haircut yesterday. He got a trim in his mustache and beard. And I haven't talked to you guys about much in English and when it comes to me and my family. So I wanted to let you guys know a little bit more about myself. So I am 29 years old. When I was about 2 years ago, when I lived in Vegas, about May 4th, and I will always remember it, not only because it was my partner's birthday, but because this little guy right here, he was fully aware of everything. He was working, and sadly, he always had an addiction with alcohol. He was always being an alcoholic, and we never really developed a lot of when he doesn't understand that much English. So, and I know he's okay with it. We've talked about it. He developed this kind of addiction to the alcohol ever since I remember. And so even though when we lived together, I would always make sure that he wanted to get pampered on his birthday. I would cook for him on his birthday. I would, on Christmas, I would prepare dinner or Thanksgiving, and he was never there for me. But I always make sure I was there for him. So about 2 years ago, when me and my partner lived in Vegas, so when we lived in Vegas, I received a phone call from one of my sisters who she said, you're the closest one, and those ones are gonna be big news on you. So I wanted to know if you, I know you're capable, but I wanted to know if we can count on you. They were always more close to him, and I was always more close to my mom. And I always told my dad when he was fully aware of everything, if you need anything, please let me know. He's my dad. Anyways, to make the long story short, they told me that he had been disappeared for over a week, which is never his case. He was always a very responsible father when it came to my mom. I also have a sister who has mental disability, has other issues going on. So even though my dad wasn't, I don't know, maybe the best husband to my mom, which is none of my business, he was always very responsible when it came to, his responsibilities. ¿Estás bien? ¿Cómo lo siente? Bien, está bien. Okay, good. So I just want to make sure he's okay. As you can see, the mask is gonna turn from like a blue or light gray to blue or blue to gray, whichever way you want to see it. We're gonna let him sink into it. I got this one at Origins, by the way, which I love. So I always, we're gonna let him sink in for a little bit. We'll talk about it. Um, uh, the next day, we had already plans for my boyfriend's birthday, and it was about the second birthday that we had spent together, and we were very excited because we had so many things going on. And it was the first birthday that I actually planned something for him. So I said, you know what, I have bad news. How do you feel about this? And he was a little bit down because he was very excited for his birthday, since no one had ever really planned something nice for him, or a lot of things nicer for him. So I said, I am so sorry, but I feel like we should do it. I really need to see what's going on. So we took our car and we traveled all the way to California. And, ¿estás bien? Sí. Sí? Okay. We traveled all the way to California. ¿Ve y sírvete un vaso con agua si quieres?
Sí.
Okay. Y vienes para acá.
Gracias, puedo tomar
Sí.
agüita.
Vienes para acá. Córrele.
Sí.
And then, so we traveled all the way to California for a whole weekend, and I would say 5 days, almost a week. And I spent May 4th, Cinco de Mayo, and then a couple more days over there. And we're trying to figure out where was he. We couldn't locate him either, or trust me when I say I looked in jails, I looked at morgues. It was very disturbing to find myself looking at morgues where there were all dead bodies, trying to see who was my dad. It was one of those moments that I would always see in movies, and I don't even want to cry about it, but I just want to be honest and truthful to myself. It was a very painful thing to do for me. It's my dad, it's a human being who we're talking about. And I was broken inside, but I was very happy that I had my partner with me all the time. I would always be grateful for him. We would look over bodies and pictures of people who were dead. We would look in shelters. We were also looking in all the clubs where he used to hang out, and the last club where he hung out. They never wanted to say anything about him. They never wanted to say he got this or that. As far as I am aware, he was partying and he was clubbing with one of these ladies, and she got him drunk. And this is as far as I'm aware. As the police officers and as time went by, I figured out more information, and I gathered more information from everybody else, and a little bit of the people started talking about what was going on. So this lady took all the money, and some other guys came in and beat the crap out of my dad. He had like gold dentures. They were stolen from him. Passport, ID, birth certificate, whatever he was carrying at the moment, they took him away. It was a very painful thing to do, not because of the material things, but because I didn't know what was going on. And after the 5th day, we went back to Vegas, and I couldn't live with myself. I was standing in a home where I had my partner, but where I didn't know if my dad was living, if he was cold, if he was warm, if he needed to eat, if he needed money. There were all those things all the time in my head, and my partner saw me very confused and very, I was very saddened by the fact that he got lost. And there were no words for me that could describe the feeling of losing somebody from your life and not knowing what's going on with them. Give me 1 second. So there were no words for it to describe it. It is a very painful thing to describe, and he's already finished. He looks very, like you can tell from the bluish, he's turning silver in some areas. And this is a set of black mask. So we're gonna let it sink in for a little bit more. And we decided to leave abruptly Vegas, and we moved to California, and we started living in California. It's very common to rent a room from somebody else. So we started living with this Latina woman, and we lived there for about 4 months, and then one day I couldn't find a job. My partner was going to school, and I had run out of all my money. I had run out of all of the resources that I had, and I couldn't pay rent, I couldn't pay car, I couldn't pay gas, I couldn't pay money for eating, I couldn't pay money for my dogs, and I was in a very saddened situation. And I felt like in a way it was myself, because I volunteered to, with obviously a little bit of pressure from my sisters, to move right away as soon as possible to look for my dad. And mostly one of my sisters who always says, my dad is has always been supporting with us as daughters, but we want to know if you can support him. So I went ahead and did it, just to see not only what they were going to say, but also to see what was going on with my dad. One night we were told we had to leave the apartment, and as you can see, the mask is like drying. So as it's drying, you gotta make sure it becomes a scrub, so you gotta wash it, and as you wash it, it just scrubs in your face. So in a minute we're gonna go ahead and ask him to go ahead and remove the mask. So anyway, we left and we started living in our car. And it wasn't the first time that we had lived in our car, but the horrible thing to do was that we were back in California, which is a state that we love, but sadly we were in a car with license plate expired, and we were in nowhere. And our family, like one of my not my aunt, my tío per se, he wanted to support us, but he didn't want it to be supporting me being as a gay male. So he had a hard time dealing with that, and we were told we could stay with them, but we were never able to. We stayed with him for like 3-4 days, and that was it, or nights. So we started living in our car, and one night I was really tired, and my partner was like, you know what, we're just gonna go ahead and do whatever it takes. We're gonna go to LA. We're gonna work really hard. We're gonna find whatever, as as the movie Christina Aguilera Burlesque. She just walks into a bar, finds a job, and becomes a singer. We didn't want anything similar to it. We wanted to make sure we could do working really hard, find a place to stay for me, my partner, and my dogs. And vete a lavar la cara, papá. Aquí está la toalla. Vete a lavar bien. Y vienes cuando termines. So we decided that we wanted to do that, and in that same night, we slept through it, and we were decided that we wanted to leave. So the next morning, I woke up with a phone call from the police officer who was taking care of the case, and I would always be grateful to her. It wasn't a police officer; it was somebody else. I don't recall her name, but I'm pretty sure if you're watching, you know who you are, because you're from San Diego. And you probably know. That same day, she told me, we found your dad. He is in a shelter in the middle of not Tijuana, Ensenada, and we can go there to help you. We can go to rescue him, because those are that's a Mexican state, or that's Mexico. So United States can go and involve with the situation with them. You gotta do what you gotta do. So, and she said, whatever you do, take your precautions, make sure you're 100% sure you want to do this, because we're not even 100% if he's going to be there alive, if he's going to be there, or what's going on. We just know that was the last time when we saw him, when they saw him, and then we don't have any more information. So I went ahead and I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And so my partner took me there to the border, and then after that, because he's from Puerto Rico, and he doesn't have an international passport, so he couldn't pass through the line again. I did it by myself with a couple of friends from my family. And so they took me there, thanks to my uncle, one of my dad's brothers. He had some friends and relatives, and took me there. We drove all the way there. I drove with somebody, some two guys, a guy and a lady who I did not know, but they helped me a lot. I will always forever be grateful because they took me down to through this route where God knows where it is. It was like 5 hours away from the border, and we got to this place where there was nothing. As soon as I walked in and asked for my dad, they locked the doors. They put a locker, and I was like, well, here I am. What can I do? And so pretty much I want to say it was a very terrible experience as I was in there. You know, if you want to know more about the story, please let me know, because it's too much to take in, and I will always forever be. I feel like it's very nice to take all the stuff and share with somebody, and I feel like I don't know you guys, but I feel like you guys know me in a level already, so I wanted to share this experience so far. So please let me know if you wanted to know more about this. But when going back to the City Block Purifying mask, so that's the way it turns. It turns first blue and a little bit of silverish, and then that's when you scrub it. And this will remove all the dead cells, all the impurities. It's made with clay, and so it's a clay mask, and then you scrub it as you remove it, as you take it out from your face. So it kind of has like two different types of benefits. First, a mask, and then the scrub. So it does two different jobs, and I feel like it helps your skin to be more brightened, more smooth, and more like silky smooth, and then more it helps you rejuvenate because it's taking all the dead cells. I hope you guys like this video. I know it's a little bit harsh to soak in, but I feel like I said, I feel like I know you guys in another level. I feel like you guys know me in another level. So I wanted to experience that kind of like I wanted you guys to know what was going on in my life, and he's a big part of my life now. I have become one-on-one person, kind of taking care of him, and I love my dad for everything that he is. And even though sometimes it gets really hard, I do love him. I love him like I love my mother, like I love my sisters. But I feel like I needed to say out loud, thank you. Thank you to all the people who shared the picture of my dad. Thank you to my partner who was always there for me, who's always been very supportive, who's been my number one supporter. Thank you to my mother, who's always been praying and who's always been very constant. And even though she was heartbroken, she was still up there. She was still making sure she could do it. And to my sister Olivia, who's always been an angel, and she was always very positive. She never lost the faith, and she was always very communicative, very like in there, like, hey, how you doing? What do you need? You know, she's always been that kind of person who always makes sure that the relationship gets stronger and better every time. And thank you to everybody, every single person who supported us. Thank you, because otherwise I don't know if we could have found my dad. We shared my picture of my dad and in the news. And to my other two sisters, thank you. But thank you for everybody who shared our information, our concern, and how in pain we were at the moment. I want to say thank you, God, for always being there for me. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.